Hi, everybody. I'm Jacob Ruprecht. I'm going to be talking about the social and political aspects of why charismatic species should not receive more funding than non-charismatic species. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, biodiversity loss. Significantly more species than just charismatic species are threatened and are sustaining losses. Many charismatic species populations that receive the majority of funding are in very poor condition, a lot or even past the point of no return. The northern white rhino is a great example. Most, if not all, charismatic species rely on a number of other species as part of their trophic system in order to maintain a healthy population as well. So it's not just one species; it's a lot. Um, so this is a quote from the World Wildlife Fund, sorry. So globally, 73% average decline in wild vertebrates from 1970 to 2020. Freshwater species suffered even more severely, with 85% losses. This underscores the magnitude of the biodiversity crisis, particularly for non-charismatic groups such as fish, crustaceans, amphibians, reptiles, pretty much non-fuzzy mammals. So the funding bias, greater research bias towards charismatic species, and therefore they receive much more funding. Social constructs, just as a whole, trend towards large mammals being more charismatic than other species. Um, I'll get more into this quote later, but people overwhelmingly chose charismatic species regardless of their level of threat. And most threatened species actually received very to almost no funding. So this is a quote from Caldwell et al. 2024. More than 17,000 research articles published in the leading four conservation journals found that taxonomic bias has not only persisted but increased over time between the years 1980 and 2020. The number of conservation studies published grew 35-fold, which that's good. However, rather than diversifying the range of species studied, researchers continue to focus on a narrow group of vertebrates. A mere 27%, 27 species, primarily large mammals, were subject of 8.5% of all articles, despite representing just 0.0008% of known species in the Global Biodiversity Information Facility. Guinard et al. 2025 analyzed around 14,600 global conservation projects conducted over the past 25 years and found that 82.9% of the funds went to vertebrates, primarily mammals and birds, while plants and invertebrates only received 6.6% of the funding. Nearly 94% of threatened species received no funding at all, despite being high risk. Now, the Martin Lopez et al. Quote, he studied public donations in a zoo's adoption program and found that people overwhelmingly chose charismatic species regardless of their level of threat. Paradoxically, those who adopted less charismatic species tended to give larger donations, which was interesting. So kind of as a counter argument, the umbrella effect, which is essentially the idea by conserving the habitat and resources needed by an umbrella species, which is often a charismatic species, you also safeguard the ecosystem of other lesser known species living within the same area. But honestly, it's just kind of inconsistent. Studies show that protecting one species most of the time does not sufficiently protect broader biodiversity. And instead of just dumping all of the funding into one species, better education of the public and even marketing for other lesser known species within the ecosystem is imperative. And in order to properly conserve and rehabilitate an ecosystem, it's crucial that funding goes to multiple sea species and not just the most charismatic. And then here are my sources.